What's up, Westworld fans? Johnny B. Crazy here with a breakdown of this season's finale, The Passenger. Let's see if we can figure out what some of this means. Now, in the first scene, we see Dolores has brought back Bernard 11,927 times. Ford tasked her with creating him from memory. This seems to be the future timeline after Bernard has been killed, in my opinion. Next scene is Dolores laying next to Teddy. She removes his control unit and takes a spent munition and wedges it into the shotgun chamber of MIB's gun, leading me to believe this has been simulated many times over in the forge. We will come back to that. We come back to Kichida leading a mass exodus of hosts headed for the door, which was a virtual world created by Bernard and the forge for the hosts to live free. It's a virtual Garden of Eden, where the hosts have no bodies, but their consciousness can live on. Maeve finally makes her great escape. She saves herself with a little bit of help from Ford. Hector, Armistace, Lee, Felix, and Sylvester get there a little too late. They're all heading for the Valley Beyond when security shows up. Lee finally overcomes his size issue and rises up. He finally gets to recite his speech that the guest so rudely interrupted in the first season. He goes out in style, in my opinion, but also he could have just told him he was human, while Maeve and them ran off. It almost seems as Lee sacrificed himself for no reason. Maybe not, though, and we don't have a confirmation on his death. As they arrive at the Valley Beyond, Maeve finds her daughter. She manages to hold off Clementine and security while Akishita and her daughter and some of the others make it through the door. It's confusing for me because her pain level should be all the way down, and how come Dolores can take more bullets? I know Maeve had some wounds still healed, but she has all these superpowers. You think she'd be able to override it, especially since it was only body shots. I didn't like how Maeve went down, but I do believe she's coming back, and I'm going to talk about that in a later video. We do get to see Akishita reunite with Kohana. In my opinion, Ford did this for Akishita, his flower in the darkness. But man, Hector, Armistace, Maeve, they're all killed. But thankfully the totally human Felix and Sylvester are still alive, and I believe will bring Maeve and crew back. They better, at least. Dolores and Bernard enter the forge, and then it flashes back to the Strand timeline. Stubbs goes back to find humans registering in the southwest zone. It's probably Felix and Sylvester. Strand, Hale, and Bernard walk into the forge, and we find out there are 4 million human souls in the forge. They stumbled upon Dolores with her brains blown out. We go back inside the simulator. They begin their journey in James Delos' room. I'm assuming because he was the first subject. Bernard says most states of consciousness are insane when they see the different versions of James Delos. That's why small changes to the host made them act crazy in Season 1. Dolores seems to be looking for the conscious intelligence inside the forge. They find it, or it finds them, in the form of Logan, which the AI developed from Delos' memories. I'm going to just call him Logan for this video. Logan was tasked with building perfect copies of the guest, and was also told by Bernard to study the enemy. Humans are simple and can only follow their code, or DNA. 1 million pathways were built for James Delos, and they all led back to the moment he disowned Logan. Basically, the hybrids were failing because the system overestimated the complexity of the human consciousness. As Logan showing them around the forge, we see William and hear him say that some humans are irredeemable as they pass the man in black in a room. We will see him later. Bernard instructed Logan in the past to give Dolores whatever she needed. They entered the repository, and Dolores picked Strand's book first. We don't know how many books she read, but I'm sure MIB's was one of them. As Dolores is reading, she is receiving code, thus giving her memories and patterns in behavior. Seeing as the hosts are themselves supercomputers, I believe Dolores simulated events in her mind. Her simulating events is the only thing that makes sense, but she could just know all the behavior patterns of a person. Logan did say they're predictable. Logan shows them the virtual Eden Bernard had made for the host. This is the door we saw Akishita go through. Dolores sees that as only another gilded prison, within reach of humanity. They would never be safe. Dolores is right, in my opinion. Dolores comes out of the simulation and begins to destroy the forge. Bernard says this is a fucking nightmare and proceeds to blow Dolores' brains out. We can see that Elsie has betrayed Bernard, and that's how Hale found Maeve and company. Elsie tries to do the right thing in her eyes and gets murdered by Hale. I do believe Bernard will recreate Elsie in the future just like Dolores made him, but that's another video. Bernard is in the forge with Strand and Hale, and he keeps saying he's sorry, then he flashes back to Elsie's death. Bernard asks Ford for his help, and then Ford says he already helped him. As we see, Bernard made another body. This is when we find out Dolores has been Hale in the current timeline with Carl Strand. Dolores kills everyone, including Bernard. She also downloaded all of the virtual Eden and sent it to a satellite somewhere no one can find it. I don't believe that, but... The next scene is beautiful, and Bernard seems to find the center of his maze, realizing Ford's voice wasn't Ford, but his own. This is right before he lays down on the beach, waiting for Strand to arrive, and erases his memories. Bernard says goodbye to Ford, and this is kind of touching, because Bernard finds the center of his maze, and then it seems like he's going to have to start over again, and we also know he's been killed. After killing Strand, we see the island being cleaned up, and everyone's on a beach, and we see Hale about to start leaving, or Dolores. Stubbs stops her, and we kind of realize that Stubbs is pretty much a host. He's been there for 20 years, tasked with looking over every host in the park, specifically hired by Ford. As Hale's leaving as well, it focuses on Emily, Armistace, Hector, and Maeve, and we have to remember she has the 5 pearls. I'm going to do a video on that as well, and who I think the pearls are. Next thing we hear a security team member saying we found a high-ranking survivor, and we see the man in black with his hand blown off, laying on a cot in the med bay. Also, Felix and Sylvester get tasked with cleaning up Maeve, so this is her opportunity to be brought back, in my opinion. Next scene we see Bernard waking up, and we hear Dolores talking to him, saying why she made him. So many paths lead to the end of us. And then Bernard tells her, you'll try to kill all of them. Dolores knows this, but I believe she needs an adversary, and this goes back to her simulating events. She had to have simulated future events, and she knows that she needs Bernard in order to succeed. And then we get to the man in black, who's now a host or host hybrid. We see him get to the bottom of the elevator, and he's greeted by Emily, or who I think possibly is the AI intelligence from the forge inside of a host body. Now the forge itself is completely destroyed and no more. It's just a shell with a bunch of sand in it. This leads me to believe that this is far into the future. I don't know how many years, but it's definitely been a few. We know that Ford stated that the project was a couple of years away from being successful, so it has to be at least a couple of years in the future. I believe Man in Black died after the events with Dolores, and I believe we'll see that next season. To wrap it up, it was an amazing finale with lots of questions answered and lots of questions still to be asked, and that's really great for me as a Westworld fan because I love contemplating philosophical ideas. Tell me what you guys thought of the episode. If you noticed anything I didn't, leave a comment below. Please subscribe and like, and thank you everyone for watching. This is Johnny B. Crazy, signing off.